And we're live.
And we're back!
Oh shit.
Wow.
My ears. Ow.
Just blew the speakers right out of something.
Keith's laptop just vibrated off the disc.
It's been a minute. Can we get a Keith Perkins introduction?
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have his mic.
That's okay, even better.
I'm in an empty shell of an office. It's just boxes and crap that's packed up.
That's okay. Can we make it loud and vibrating so we can't understand it?
Welcome to the show! Welcome, everybody. I'm back, at least for a little while. Next time you see me, hopefully I'll be in the new house where I'll be using more than a phone. So we got a continuation of the last video that I was not in. So that's all I got for you.
That works.
Bryn, we got a case study for you. You, right?
Oh, you got a case study for me? That'd be great.
Yeah, I think you should go first.
No, I'm not going first.
Oh, I think you should go first. Are you not ready to go first?
No, I don't know.
He needs a coffee or something.
Yeah.
Red Bull? 5-hour energy?
Cocaine. You are in Florida. When in Florida? Well, actually, are you more cocaine or more meth? Well, we're in Florida, like in the Florida line.
He's in the meth area.
Meth?
Oh,
Okay.
You have to get a little further south for coke.
I mean, if it depends on if you're hanging out with used car salesmen or not.
That's where your case study's about, a car from a used car lot?
Typically they are. Yes. That's actually, I only deal with them exclusively.
I do have a real super short one. I spent a solid hour and 20 minutes today trying to program a key to an 08 Accord.
Oh yeah?
Wow, why?
So I'll make the story as short as possible. A good customer of ours called and said his daughter's key stopped working. He tried changing the battery and it started up one time, drove to her house, and I had to start it again. Would you please just come make me a key? I happen to not carry a key for an 08 Accord 2-door. They're different between 2-door and 4-door. And that's not where the story goes at all. So he wanted a remote head key. So I sent one of my execs out to go do just a regular key, just to get the car driving. And he went and did 2 at the request, programmed them, no problem. Started and ran. Then I ordered the other ones in, and he sent his daughter up to the shop to go and get the remote head key programmed. And she gets there, and I can't do it. I try all the aftermarket tools. I try HDS. No matter what order I do it, even if I do it all keys lost, it'll add the 2 regular keys in, but it won't do the remote head key. So I'm convinced it's the wrong key. And I quadruple check. I get their old key that stopped working, and it talks. No, it sends a signal out, no problem. It's a PCF 7961, exactly the same transponder, ID 486, as the one that I have that I'm trying to put into it. The FCC ID numbers are correct, so that's the difference between 2-door and 4-door, is just the remote portion. I cannot get it to go. Multiple times I keep lost it and add the other ones back in.
Well, question. Did you use 8-channel scope on it?
I had to use 2 8-channels.
Okay.
Oh, well, then should have gotten it then.
No,
you should have gotten it.
And then it hits me what I should check for. And it had a bedazzled ring around the lock cylinder.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
It was a black one, so I didn't see it.
It bit you.
Yes, so the regular...
That's unusual. Usually the black ones are bigger.
The transponder was close enough. I didn't hear it, sorry.
Oh, Rich, can you repeat that?
No. I can only guess because I know I said the black one. So the regular transponder keys, the transponder is close enough to the ring that it worked, but the remote head ones, they were farther away, so it wouldn't relearn. So I popped it right off there and went fine. And then I reprogrammed the original key that stopped working. It stopped working directly after she stuck the ring on it.
What's with those stupid bedazzled key rings?
Well, for $12, you can get a whole bedazzled kit for your car on Amazon.
Are we sure they're key rings and not like anything else, and they happen to fit around the key ring?
Well, they're black. So.
Oh. Why, Rich? Why are you so experienced with black bedazzled key rings?
Moving on.
So, do you have it? Google this picture and share it with everybody, because I'm not sure I'm familiar with any of
You
the
say Toyota
bedazzles.
water pump gasket, I'm going to lose it.
Anyways.
No, I thought we were googling the bedazzled.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
I'm
not searching for that.
The black ring.
We're already off the rails.
It's only 9. Usually it's like 10:30 material right here.
Is that a small wrench you had over there? What is that? An ignition wrench?
Me?
Yeah.
Little guy.
Oh, look at a little cute guy. Oh,
Little guy.
Okay, so I guess it falls to me. Brandon, sure you don't want to go first? Because I think mine might be better first.
No, you guys said you didn't want to be here till 11, and we're definitely going to be here till 11 if I go.
Well, no. Well, if we start you first, then we can go to me.
No, I can't. That's why I sound like I'm from Florida.
You can't perform?
I can't perform right now.
It happens to everybody.
Case study shy?
Well,
All right.
One of those rings
so-
would probably come in handy.
And there's Matt.
There we go.
All right, so fine. Well, fine. It comes to me. So last week we did a live case study. You guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Where I was horribly wrong and misdiagnosed a car, or jumped to a diagnosis based on what was assumed as me just knowing the product and going off of that. I think that was a fair assumption.
So did he put the ECM in it and it didn't fix it? Just kidding.
So here's the thing. The reason I wanted Dave on was for 2 reasons. Let me look into the camera. The reason I wanted Dave on was for 2 reasons. Number one, he called me up right before we went online, and I happened to mention that we were talking about Super Saturday. Again, Brian, when is Super Saturday?
October 9th?
8th and 9th, I think.
8th and 9th?
Yeah. So is it Super Saturday and Sunday?
I should know this.
It's a super weekend.
So it's Super Weekend. Dave did call me up about an Audi, but I happened to mention that we were going live in a couple minutes and talking about Super Saturday. Number one, would you like to go on? And he was like, sure. Number two, I started talking about the Audi, and just a couple minutes into the Diag, and like I said, I did a couple minutes into the Diag, but I wanted him to come on so we could do this live because number one, I really like being able to diagnose something live because that's how we all do it in the shop. And yes, maybe I'm among the group of people that quote unquote used to work on cars, as Brian loves to say.
I used to be a mechanic. Yeah, okay.
But the truth of the fact is that I still work on cars. And number two is one of the things I hate about case studies is it takes out all of the fuck ups, all of the things where you get your ass handed to you, and that's usually what makes a good case study is where you get your ass handed to you and you learn a lesson. And it paints the person a lot of the times as look at me, I got this giant dick, and look how awesome I am, and I never mess up, and it makes people think that they're not good enough. At least that's the way I felt about it. I'm sure other people feel like that too. So I like to do everything wrong, as Rich knows. I do like to do everything wrong. So I wanted to do this just like I was doing it in the shop, and just like I do it every day on the phone, where I fix cars with my brain. Even though I work on cars anymore, as Brian says. So we came and it was an IX valve, right? Not activating. Y'all can chime in. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was dealing with a stall issue or when it was cold.
Yep, and he had a code. He had a code for there was an electrical fault on an IX valve, and this was an earlier Audi that still had a cable-driven throttle, so it had an IX on it. The later Audis and Volkswagens were drive-by-wire, so that was all controlled by the throttle assembly itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, let's play with this. And we first thing I wanted to do was you had an electrical fault, so we wanted to verify the electricity. So first thing we did is I logged in and showed I wanted to trace a diagram, which is what I do every day. And we saw that the power and grounds are coming right from the engine control module, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You guys were there? All right.
Yep.
So there was no fuse that could cause a problem. So if it was an electrical problem, we either maybe got a broken wire or something wrong with the engine control module or something wrong with the IAC that looked relatively new and most likely looked like it had an Audi part on it. So the next thing to do is to basically with any kind of diagnostics is right. You wanted to see if the computer can control the damn thing. So you look at some kind of output test, right?
Yep.
All right. So you run the output test, and in this particular case, the output tests, the way they work on this car and every other Audi and Volkswagen, but just the way in this car is it runs them through a cycle on then off, everything at the same speed, which is what we saw, correct?
Yep.
Except for the IAC, correct?
We saw it come on. We didn't see it.
We saw it come on and come off. At that point, I said, "Stop! You need a computer."
And that's where I think we failed for a missing teaching point on how to find that information. You know, if like me, if I don't have the experience of that car, I would have saw the light turn on, and then when okay, the driver's working, driver's not fried, and I probably would have said it's good.
And this is where I was trying to make my point that I'm going to make tonight.
Okay.
Every time I tried to make this point that I'm going to make right now, I kept on getting interrupted. So we're gonna.
So Brian, what was it that? Sorry.
Go ahead, Chris.
I'm just kidding.
Right. It's okay.
I love you.
It's okay. And the reason I'm making this point, and the reason I wanted to have this car on with Dave, is I'm going to talk about Super Saturday, but this leads into a good portion of the class that I'm teaching at Super Saturday. I'm teaching a Volkswagen wiring diagram class, but it's really a diagnostic class on how to read wiring diagrams in general and apply just some basic thought and some theory and just some common sense to diagnosing a car and applying that to when service information may fail you, and you can think of and to help you come out with a diagnosis. So I wanted to bring Rich along with me. Rich, you mind participating with me for a little bit? I promise it'll be clean, and nobody's going to get in trouble or called to the principal.
You're the only one that's going to regret it. So go ahead. Let's go.
Okay. Well, the reason I wanted you there because I mean you have some experience working on European and German vehicles, correct? You have experience in Mercedes, plus
Yep.
You drive a Mercedes. Okay. I mean that's literally all we need to know. Most people, most people, when they work with a German vehicle or they talk with a German, they deal with it. What generally do they say?
Euro trash.
Well,
Okay.
when you're dealing with a non-Euro technician,
They say
The
find
wiring-
the water.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a different language.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's completely
They hate
different. And generally, like the stupid fucking engineers. If I could get them around, if I could get them, I'd strangle them. Something around the case of that, right? All right. I've met engineers. I've met and Rich, have you ever spoken to engineers and even dealt with engineers at all?
Oh yeah, yeah. At Mercedes, yeah.
Okay. Are they dumb?
No.
Okay.
Well, there was one Ford guy, but anyway.
So
no.
one thing I noticed about engineers is they're logical.
Especially the German ones.
Logical to a fault.
Yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
and that's where a lot of the hangups I think we see with especially with technicians. We're used to fixing problems, but we're not used to thinking like an engineer.
It took me 3 months to get in the right frame of mind working at the Mercedes dealer. And once I hit that, I went,
Makes
this
total
is how
sense, right?
This is how they look at and everything. In wiring diagrams, service information, suddenly all of it went, all right, yeah, I can handle this. Okay,
So,
but it took a while to get in that frame of mind.
You got to stop thinking. You really got to stop thinking like an American, think like a German. Because guess what? That car wasn't built for you. That car wasn't built with you in mind. Mechanics don't build cars. They don't. Engineers design cars. Engineers design the machines that build cars. Engineers design the scan tool software that helps diagnose the cars. Engineers help draw the wiring diagrams for cars. Is everybody still with me on this?
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm saying is you have to, sometimes when you're approaching a diagnosis, especially with a European vehicle, not an English vehicle. No, not an English vehicle, a German vehicle. You have to approach it how an engineer would. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, so especially with German engineers, they're logical to a fault. They do everything that they do for a reason. All right. It's almost like with American design and everything, the engineers design a car, and then the money people get involved and they screw with it and screw with everything designed. That's why nothing works. That's how you end up with what's that car you used to drive, Brian?
Which one?
that orange monstrosity.
It was red. Jeez.
The Aztec?
The Aztec. That is exactly how the Aztec came to be, correct? This car was designed to be a really cool friggin' car.
It still is.
Yeah, and then the money then the money people got involved, and now you got whatever the hell that was, car with two hoods. So anyway, getting off subject.
Can you, before you move on, can you apply your engineering thought to your case study?
That's my point. I'm getting there.
Okay.
So that I'm prefacing it because it's actually just a couple slides and it's basically me proving my point. But so German engineers are logical to a fault. All right. So they design these systems, and you can see it in the way they draw their diagrams. And Rich, you've seen this, right? Like symbols for diagrams, DIN, and specifically, no matter what the symbol is, the base diagram. This is what I cover in my class. The base symbol and diagram is exactly the same. And I've actually with Brandon, we went over this because he was doing some research for a DIN article he's writing for Motor Age, and Mercedes, it was a solenoid, but it was listed as a transducer in the service information. So we thought maybe it was incorrect, but turns out if we look at a picture of it, no, it was an air bypass solenoid, and it's just a solenoid. So it was just a solenoid. So this is what I want to get into. So I got this little thing. I just want to share my screen. Let's see if I can do this. Do you guys mind if I share?
Share away.
At all? Go ahead.
Just make sure you got the right thing up before you share.
Has anyone previewed this ahead of time?
Oh,
Hold on.
that's not what I expected.
Believe it or not, I'm not the guy that just makes dick jokes.
I don't believe it.
Rich, this is why I wanted you.
Oh.
What is this?
That's the symbol for a coil or a solenoid, right?
Wrong. It's a purge valve.
Oh, of course.
Purge valve is a solenoid.
Hold on, let me finish my point. Rich, what's that?
I know if I say purge valve, I'm going to be wrong. It's a vent valve.
That's an intake changeover valve.
Also a solenoid.
By the way, in all those tests that we were doing, we did tests for all the injectors, right? Mm-hmm. Intake changeover valve, purge valve, IAC. What else was it? There's something else. I forget what it was. There's another thing. But that's what it was activating those. It was activating those solenoids, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, what's that?
Purge solenoid.
That's an IAC. All right, like right. Hold on 1 second. I got to make the screen smaller so I can see. So that's the IAC. All right, what's that?
IAC.
I'm guessing injector.
You're right. That's an injector. All right.
Put a little gold star on my screen.
Good job, Rich. Gold star. Bam. All right. But I hear people saying, but Chris, the aftermarket all data wiring diagrams are garbage. They're shit, right? There's no information there, right? It's absolutely useless. I only use OEM diagrams because that's the only way you can diagnose a car. So that's usually how I feel about that. So fine. What's that?
That's a solenoid. A mechanical solenoid.
So that's an N30. What's an N30, guys? That's a cylinder number 1 fuel injector. What is a fuel injector?
Solenoid.
So in my class,
fluid instead of current.
In my class, we're going to go over this in depth because this is very important to know, especially when dealing with European type vehicles. Can you guys here, let's do this. 10.
Oh boy.
In the diagram, this solenoid is broken off into 2 parts. This in DIN is actually the symbol for a solenoid. Power, ground, electromagnetic coil, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense? That's a solenoid. All right? And this indicates some type of valve. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that actually indicates a mechanical valve, if I remember correctly.
So, yeah, exactly. Some type of valve. So if you break down, if you speak engineer, because remember, engineers don't look at the end product. They look at what builds the product, right? Because engineers start from nothing to build things, right? So to an engineer, what is a fuel injector?
Resistance.
It's a solenoid.
It's just a solenoid that turns a valve. So when they're designing the diagram, right? Especially in DIN, this is why I like European type diagrams. All right, it tells you exactly how that works with no words. With no words, I know what that is. I know that is a solenoid that moves some shit. Basically, is what happens. I know how that's supposed to work. I know what I need to make it work. Make sense, guys?
Yep.
Cool. Guys, what's that?
It's a bow tie.
Fuel injector.
That's an N71. What's an N71? That's an IAC.
It looks like a turbine or something.
What I will add to
it's
this,
a windmill.
Sideways.
Brian, what were you gonna say?
I'd like to add one more thing about that. You have a solenoid from a fuel injector that is turned on for a certain amount of time and then turned off for a certain amount of time.
Let me finish. Let me get there. I'm gonna get there.
You're interrupting me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
An idle air control has a duty cycle fed to it. It's not an on time. It's a little bit. They operate a little bit differently.
How does a purge valve work?
That's also duty cycle, but it's not. It's being opened and closed completely, as opposed to an idle air control being partially opened or in steps.
So this is what I'm going to tell you. German engineers, especially German, this is what I preface this with. They are what was I forget the term I was using. They're logical to a fault. Right? It is a solenoid, on and off. If there was an open and a close, the diagram would be drawn different. Have you seen that, Rich?
Yes.
I'm just saying,
Okay.
in reality, the idle air control valve doesn't open and close really fast. The fuel injector does. The purge valve does.
So in this car, this is the way this one will operate. But let me finish that. So basically, what this is saying, this is telling you how this works. So it applies power, it applies ground, and it moves something. That is literally all it is.
True.
This is why, again, if this was a Jaguar, or if this was a Ford, I would say, okay, yeah, maybe the diagram's wrong. But again, German engineers are logical to a fault. And if this operated a different way, the diagram will be drawn differently. That's what DIN is all about. It's a standard. It's a standard of how it should be. So let's move on. What's that?
A solenoid?
Dead robot?
That's an N80. That's a purge valve.
Damn it,
Okay.
I should have said purge valve.
Okay, what's that?
Purge valve?
That's the N156. That's intake changeover valve. All right, and that one is activated. It gets held on. Gets held off. It's the duty cycle is different technically for that one because if the changeover valve, it's either on or off depending on where your throttle is. Does that make sense? The computer only has 2 states, on or off, to make that work. So I don't. All right, now you're thinking, well, hold on a second. I've done this test before, right? I've done this. I've seen this activate my air pump. I've seen this activate my air pump. I've seen this activate my cooling fan. All right. That's kind of crazy, right? Chris, you're an idiot. You have no idea what you're talking about. I would advise you to go look at that test again. Anybody who's ever done output tests on this and has seen it activate an air pump, what does it actually say there? Does anybody know? Perkins, this might be for you.
What does it actually say there?
On the output test, when you're activating your air pump, what does the test actually say?
It'll say on and off, I think.
Nope. It doesn't. You're not activating your air pump. You're activating your air pump relay.
Relay. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's that?
Relay.
That's a relay. What is a relay?
It's a solenoid that flows current instead of fluid or air.
So again, think like an engineer. What is the scan tool activating?
The magnetic field inside the relay.
It's activating a solenoid, correct? Yeah, that's the air pump relay. So I was like, oh, Chris, well, you're an idiot. That's an aftermarket diagram again. Why don't we go back to the OEM diagram? Cool. What's that?
Yep.
A solenoid switch.
Exactly. Hold on. Where do we go?
Relay. $299 the relay.
What is that? The same diagram we saw. That's a solenoid, right?
Yep.
The solenoid activates a switch. That is all a relay is. Again, think like an engineer. What is a relay? Brian, you brought it up before.
A solenoid switch.
Exactly.
That sounds terrible.
So it's secondary pump relay. Thus concludes my presentation. But I'm gonna stop my share and we're gonna go back again. The reason I felt safe about calling that computer is because, again, I've been through the ringer and I understand how the engineers think. All right. Yes. Other scan tool makes and other vehicle makes may have different types of outputs for this type of vehicle.
What I'd like to say as well is, when you're doing an output test and you're not familiar with how that output test operates, it's important to at least try to find that output test in service information to find details of how those components are being activated.
So if we go back to my point I was making, sometimes when you can't find the service information, sometimes you need to take a step back, and that's one of the biggest things when you're helping diagnose a car. It really helps to understand what they're talking about. What does the engineer want? The engineers, like I said, are logical to a fault. The engineers are the ones who design the characteristics for the output test or what the computer is looking for. And again, it's about saving money too. So what the engineer is not going to design a special test out of nowhere. A German engineer, I apologize, in this era is not going to put a special test in there and make it work completely different. That's why I felt comfortable about calling a computer, because again, the engineers are activating solenoids.
I will say that when you do output tests like that, if they're sequential, not all the time do they operate on the same, like, on, off. You'll get injectors that buzz quickly. You'll get a fan that turns on for 3 seconds and then shuts off. So, I mean, it's...
On which cars?
It depends. I mean, depending on what you're working on.
I think the big thing is I don't think anybody was challenging your call or your experience per se. I think it was just, for those of us that don't have that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I work on everything, and I can't remember everything about everything that I work on, so it's hard to memorize certain things like that.
I think it is important. To your point, you're absolutely right. You have to think logically. And there are times where you can't find service information. You have to make a call. Like Brian said, in his mind, that light stayed on, but that told him the driver's good. Yeah, it would tell me the driver's good. It's hard to say what I would or wouldn't do in the bay. I would probably be a little bit. I would probably ask myself, is that normal? Should it be turning on and off?
It would be alarming to me, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I would keep it in my back of my mind that it didn't behave like the rest or the previous components that were just activated.
What were you going to say, Rich? Look like you're going to say something, then you got to interrupt.
Well, that was that was my question. I think Brian has kind of already said it. Is based on your experience of doing those tests before, the fact that the purge control valve didn't click, it didn't switch on and off, was enough for you to say, "Yep, computer." But for Brian and I, who haven't run that test a million times before, my thought process would be that driver can turn it on and that driver turned it off. That driver's okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not fried. It's not.
Yeah.
Up,
that's is I got a response when I went to that test. It must be okay. Like I would have moved on from there. That's all I'm not doubting you.
Yeah.
You know.
I would have thought logically it's a little strange. I would expect a little bit of a different result, but it's clearly turning the bulb on. So,
which is unlikely. If a driver fails to drive a component, it would be just broke.
Yeah, coming from the domestic world, either it works or it's laying in a smoldering pile on the bottom of the ECM.
Yeah,
so
that's. I mean, there are in betweens, but but sometimes when I think there's an in between, it's not. I've just wasted my time. Matt, do you mind sharing your screen and showing where you found that last week? You had some description of that test by
let
direction
me go find
control.
it again.
That was a 97E8.
You have 17 seconds. Just so
half the time.
But my entire point was it's just a logical process. Honestly, I didn't even know that service information exists. I'm going to tell you, I didn't even know that exists. It's a logical. And sometimes when there's nothing there, you have to apply a logical process, and that's what I was trying to get through. All of that. It's if you stop and you apply a logical process and stop looking at everything else. And try to get in the head of the injector, and get in the head of the engineer. Sometimes that helps diagnosing a car, and it'll stop you from going wild. Okay, off my soapbox.
Just finding service information is half the battle sometimes.
I think it's more than half sometimes.
Chasing Subaru evap information all day long,
and that would be a tough thing to find on any car. I think. How does the output test work? What do you search?
Absolutely. But even typical stuff, even description and operation of how the evap system does its tests, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it'd drive you nuts.
That's because it's
Jason's watching. Let's be nice. Let's be nice to Subaru.
I think I can do it.
BMAT2C. Also, with something that drew more of a current, would the light have still come on? We tried that with two different types of bulbs, and it was the same. So where'd you find that?
All right, so you can see my all data screen, or
I see your all data screen. Yep.
Okay.
This is actually a porn.
Oops. Let me pause that a sec. All right, powertrain and management and computer controls. I mean, I searched for quite a while you guys were inspecting that vehicle and going through the tests. I ended up going here, which honestly seemed somewhat counterintuitive. And then testing and inspection for the component checking. And then I started here and followed that down. And basically it's just checking to see that stuff moves freely, and then you can see you can go to the next step down here. And this is where I found the reference to an LED or a Noid light.
Mm-hmm.
So right here, I think, is where what I pasted.
5278 LED, yeah.
That's what I pasted, I think.
AKA Noid light.
In the chat.
Again, it says LED must flash.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I tend to agree with Chris on that if you're checking other solenoids and they act a certain way, which most of the component tests or the actuation tests on Volkswagens are, it's almost like old Chrysler, like on, off,
mm-hmm.
cycled. It's generally a good reference.
Again, I'm not going to say, you shouldn't find service information, but sometimes when you can't find it, sometimes you have to go on an assumption or a best guess.
Now, if you're paying attention to the behavior of those components and they come on and they come off in the same pattern, one after another, after another, after another, there's a good chance that the one that you're on is malfunctioned.
And I've been in situations where I have literally all of the service information, and you still don't know how something works, and you have to go step back. Okay, what are they trying to do here? What is it? What is this diagram telling me? Yeah. Let me see what this is. And then that's the way you got to step back. My whole point was basically, I wanted to show, like, come to Super Saturday. We're going to talk about stuff like this.
I find that when I'm looking at any pinpoint test, instead of me doing the pinpoint test, I'm looking to see what the hell they're doing in that specific test, and then I go do it in my way.
I can attest to. I was in Chris's class on Vision, the last live event that I went to, I think, and it's a good time. I mean, there's one I don't want to give it away because I think it's a pretty cool aspect of the class, but there's one part toward the middle to late part of the class that I think creates some pretty cool interactive experience. So I definitely recommend going to Super Saturday and going to Chris Martino's Volkswagen class.
Well, that section of the class is what we're doing.
Yeah, but I don't want to give away. I think it's cool what you do in class. I don't want to let them come and show up and.
I mean, we've already given them a taste of the amazing, animations that are in his presentation.
60 slides of dead robots.
I threw this together in about 45 minutes. I was going, okay, you called me wrong. Hold on a second. Hold my beer.
Yeah, I don't think anybody called you wrong, man. I think that they were just. I think the biggest thing was. What do we do if we don't know? And
that's what it is. You have to stop by. And my whole point is, sit back, take a second. What's this information in front of me trying to tell me? And again, with dim diagrams and diagrams in general, a lot of information is left on the page that people don't even realize. They can gain a lot of circuit information for what's on a diagram and how to test things, and how things should be tested, what they're looking for.
Honestly, that's a large part of how I approach something is I look at the way the circuit works. I think that's very important. You can't do without that, personally. You can do without some other stuff in surface information sometimes because it just falls short in my mind, the way they have you test certain things. But without a wiring diagram. What's that?
Just identifix and shotgun it.
Oh, yeah.
So, cool. I think that Matt had an experience he wanted to share. I think it's time sensitive, so we need to get that. We need to talk about that.
His world's on fire, so we gotta get going.
It's sensitive, all right.
Guys, unfortunately, I gotta run. I got something that came up. I actually gotta run. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All good?
Whatever, Tommy. Fine.
Where is Tommy?
He was at
a rained-out baseball game.
I'm kidding. I know where he is.
But were there any questions before I leave?
Anything in the chat? Anybody monitoring that?
Yeah, we'll talk about you when you leave. Don't worry.
I've been watching it. Nothing really particularly.
Oh, Jesus. Jim Morton was watching me. Let's see how wrong I am. I see him popped up.
No, I like this is all about what I talk about when I say 85-15. I love that.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
8.
So
Go ahead, Brian. Or somebody.
Well, what do you think? Because Brandon says the same thing. 85% of vehicles all work the same.
Yep.
And if you go with that, then all you got to do is kind of know the 15%. That's kind of what it is.
Might be. I like that saying, but it might be more.
Hey, I like Willie's idea. Rent the same model car, swap tronics.
Rent a 98 Audi.
Yeah, exactly.
All those 98 Audis that are floating around in Philly.
They only rent those in Staten Island. By the way.
So Jim said 85% of the circuits are basically the same in all vehicles, but 50% is how this particular manufacturer operates.
Yeah.
Words to live by.
Electrons are a little bit different in a Mercedes.
And Jaguar and Land Rover. Because I'm trying to do some hiring over where my employer is, and we got to hire for a Jaguar Land Rover guy, and I'm like, no, you have to pay these guys more because these cars are stupid and they don't make any sense. And electricity, you could hire any guy, put them anywhere, and make them really good at it. But Jaguar Land Rover, it takes a special kind of special to know how these cars work, because electricity works backwards in these cars.
No, if you just want to be, I feel like you want to fail all the time, then you can work at Jaguar and Land Rover.
Yeah,
that's why I say the only thing that works with Jaguar Land Rover is Adrian Lowe's. There's DeFazio. Somebody just asked about him.
Is that a ghost?
Now why would they do
They spelled it wrong, though. Spelled it with an S.
He's hiding in a cave somewhere, Justin, but he's here.
No.
DeFazio.
I'm out in the middle of Atlanta, Georgia now.
Hot Atlanta?
Oh.
Is Masters in the seat next to you?
Yeah, no, nobody there.
Hey, I'll be in
No,
Atlanta
he
on
wouldn't
Sunday.
shut up.
Jeez.
You missed me going on a rant, Keith, because now I got to leave.
Oh, all right. That never happens. I've never heard Chris on a rant.
No.
Those are those private rants we're not supposed to be telling anybody about.
Yeah, actually, I had a moment today. I actually went and stopped off and saw Dave, the Motor City mechanic, the YouTuber. Stopped in, visited him. Another guy, Mike, the flat rate master, visited him last week. So, one of the benefits of traveling is getting around out there and go seeing the people that you don't always get a chance to go out and shake a hand.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
forget what that's like.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now we do fist bumps. Because, shaking a hand is, ooh,
I
Was
still
that?
going
Did
for the
you
full
have?
French kiss.
Looked like you had some tattoos on your knuckles. Is that love hate?
No, that's
there?
the wife's initials. Yeah, the rings don't work there. The rings always stay over here somewhere on the chain. So
Well, now you have to change that L to a D now. So you get a double D on your hand.
yeah, well, yeah, I will eventually. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, how many of us have? Speaking of, maybe you don't have service information. You have to do the best you can. Sometimes you have a car in front of you, and you suspect. I mean, you feel pretty strongly that this thing needs to be addressed before you can move on. You make a call, and unfortunately, you find out that the call you made was premature. It was wrong. Whatever you want to say.
You mean like every Monday?
We could blame. Yeah. But usually, I mean, there's never a fun way to find out, but hopefully you can find out by just, finding out immediately. They fix the car, you see that, oh crap, we still have the same symptom. We need to reassess the situation. But sometimes we don't get the luxury of finding out that way. And Matt has a story he'd like to share with us.
I don't know about the like part.
Yeah,
Whoa,
I was going to
Matt,
say
you're
that.
in Atlanta too?
What's that?
I said, Matt, you're in Atlanta too?
No. Masters chased me out. He doesn't hang out there anymore.
Guys, I'm gonna peace out. I'll see if I can jump back in later. I'll call you.
Bye,
later.
Chris.
Later.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Chased me out on his side-by-side.
I'll be in Atlanta on Sunday.
No.
All right.
Will you?
Anyways.
I'll be there Sunday to Friday.
Oh.
So anyway, go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. To start the tale, there's no beating around the bush here. I misdiagnosed this thing, and in a really embarrassing level of wrongness. So memory serves as a 2008 Mini Cooper S with a 1.6 liter turbo, and the complaint was just a tremendous amount of turbo lag. And I came up with a theory in my head that I had a leak that was big enough at low speeds, low RPMs, engine and turbo. But as engine speed went up, turbo speed went up, boost built, and could overcome the size of the leak enough to, meet the criteria, where it would match desired and actual. And it would drive normally then, but you had to keep the RPM up. So I had it in my head that this is the direction I want to go. And I checked with a high pressure smoke machine that the induction side, up to the turbo was tight. I could load it up with 10, 15 psi, shut everything up, and it would hold for however long I wanted to wait. So my idea was the wastegate itself, which is part of the turbo inside, wasn't sealing the way it needed to. And kind of made sense, whether... Right, I mean, I was wrong. Ultimately, I was wrong. But the customer elected not to have us do the repair. And evidently must have taken it to another shop for a second opinion. Okay. I didn't find out I was wrong from the customer. I didn't find out, obviously, from the shop. They didn't call me. They didn't email me. They didn't text message me. They didn't, instant message me. However, I found out by an explosion on my phone of instant messages from friends that invoices from our shop were being put up in a Facebook group. And my name wasn't called out specifically, but I mean, I think my name and the shop I work for pretty synonymous not by now. And I wanted to respond to it, but I just couldn't get past this point of why would you put a copy of the invoice with the customer's name on there, the shop's name, phone number, address, the service advisor's names on there, like, really? And then no message like, hey dude, I put up a couple copies of your invoice and such, you want to own up to this. And not only was that the misdiagnosis, the turbo way off, but there's the way the diagnosis was written insinuated, very strongly insinuated, that we thought the cause of a cam timing issue was by the turbo, which is, it's ludicrous, but it read that way. I'm not denying that. Okay, I didn't type that out. Doesn't matter. It shouldn't have left that way. But it's just really, really upsetting that that's how I found out. Usually you find out by you do the repair and it didn't fix it. So if that's in our shop and we bolted that turbo on, I'm buying a turbo. Or the shop's buying a turbo. And I have to now really figure this thing out. Really expensive lesson. I'm still struggling. Like, I don't know if, like, part of me is like, we should be able to own up to not only mistakes, but just our processes and some professional scrutiny.
Mm-hmm.
But that just seemed to go above and beyond. And, I've talked to a few people about this, not, part of it's just kind of therapeutic, but a lot of it is, my shop isn't filled, but it's a regular occurrence to have a vehicle in there that's been misdiagnosed. Whether it's sheer incompetence, an accident, some cars are just really screwed up. Like, I got a lightning strike vehicle. I'm pretty sure it got struck by lightning. It's really hard to hold the other shop accountable for a misdiagnosis on something so jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
It never occurred to me to go and take screenshots or photos of their invoices, posting them up on a forum or a professional forum or private group to either make fun of them or just, I don't know. The only thing I can work out in my head is the only reason you would ever do that is the only intent could possibly be is malicious. Because what positive could come from that? And then, in this, it sucks because I'm the one saying this. That's the worst part about this is if you're in the game to tear down shops, why would you go after the good ones? And I don't mean good like, oh, we're so competent and we're so capable. I mean, I think we've demonstrated over time, I hope, that we're always looking out for the customer's best interest. Like we're trying to take care of our customers. And you're going to tear us down? What? Where was the phone call? Like, hey, dude, got so-and-so's car here. I'm looking over your invoice. You're calling a turbo. I got to disagree with this diagnosis. I think this is what it is. It's a fraction of the cost of what you thought it would be. What do you want it? I don't want to be in the middle of anything here, but what would you like me to do? Or what would you guys want to do? And I'm telling you, whatever money she spent or he or her spent with us would have been sent to that shop immediately to go against their bill. And that was kind of robbed. Everybody could have came out looking okay. Like I'm still the dumbass that misdiagnosed it. But rising tide a little bit. Customer isn't thinking like, oh, they're pieces of crap over here taking advantage of me. Oh, probably because I'm a girl. Like what? That was the choice to make. I just can't get my head wrapped around it. And I'm not discounting. Like I ignored a clue, a very, very big clue. I blew that sucker off to the side and ignored it because I felt like this runs too good to be a cam timing issue. This is, boost. I'm watching it on a scan tool. Boost isn't building. And of course, hindsight 2020 sucks. It sucks. But that's how I found out. I found out by seeing, first getting blasts of messages from friends of mine and then seeing invoices photographed and posted on a forum. And, it's not like a monster forum, but for all I know, it's on other forums or pages or groups. And I don't get it. And I think I have a history of not getting it. This kind of runs along with that FTR thing I did on Ric Flair. It really does. But I guess part of me bringing this up is now that I know about this, and I don't care about who put it up there, that they have their own agenda, whatever. I'm not going to drag them down to try to make, this a better situation. That won't work. But I'm curious what you think I should do with the client. Like, I feel like no matter what, I have to somehow reach out to them. They don't need to know how I know, but I know I was wrong. And at least refund them the money. And that this isn't trying to fight to keep money. This is just a side tangent of that argument. Is a client paying you for a diagnosis, or are they paying you for the tests that lead to a diagnosis? But that's not me trying to keep money. In my mind, the money she gave us is already going back to her. But I'm curious how you guys would handle this, and then enlighten me with the strategy of trying to drag others down to, prop yourself up, be it as a shop or just an individual, or maybe it's a tech like Bryn or Rich that they've got a really good rep, and here's a chance to put a chink in their freaking armor. I don't know.
Well, being the devil's advocate, when you first told me about it, it just sounded like there's no way around. This person is just the type of person that likes to knock others down a few steps to make them feel better. But if I were to be the devil's advocate, our industry, unfortunately, littered with incompetence. Unfortunately, I don't mean to sound negative, but it's just there's a lot of technicians that don't understand or have a diagnostic process. And maybe do you think it's a situation? Most of our problems are when assumptions are made. So maybe it's a situation where they're assuming that your shop is taking advantage of this person, and they're just fed up with it, and they want to. Obviously, it's wrong, but they want to say, "Look at this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The shops like this should not be in business." You think it's a situation like that, or just somebody wanting to knock people down a few steps? I think it's the latter. but I'm just curious if there's any.
And it's not like we bolted the part on. We did not do any repair, but it's not like I bolted the part on. It didn't fix it, and then I went, whoa.
80% better.
Take it to the dealer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's anything other than they're trying to tear somebody down. I get what Bryn is saying, but I've run into it so many times, so many
I think
places.
It's tearing it down because if it were just a fed up at the incompetence, they wouldn't have had, they would have blurred out the company name and the names.
Yeah, that's my whole point. Is that they didn't blur anything out. They were, let's rake him through the coals, and I don't get it. I've been on both ends of that phone call, from another shop. Hey, you missed this. What do you want to do? And I've made that phone call to shops. Hey, here's where we went wrong. Here's what's happening. How do you guys want to handle this? And I mean, it's all about keeping the customer, happy and maybe oblivious to what went on. But it's all about making it right for the customer. This wasn't about making it right for the customer. This was about, I don't get it. It frustrates me beyond belief. There were two things that stuck in my head when I was in tech school in high school. And one of them was somebody, an instructor said, you ever hear any doctors badmouth each other? No, and think about how they're treated or how they're viewed for the most part. And we don't have that level of respect. And this is part of the reason.
Yeah,
There's always...
Maybe the person that put that stuff up there, maybe they're not one of those that are out beating the drums of, we should be treated as professionals, and to be treated like professionals, we should act like professionals and all that. Maybe they're not on that bandwagon. But I doubt they'll complain when they get the benefits of everybody else working to be treated like a professional, and then, as a majority or a whole, starting to be treated like professionals. So I don't know. I don't get it. It was weird. And, I asked for it to get taken down. If the admins would have asked why, it wasn't so much the diagnosis portion, but really the photos of the invoice with the name of the customer, the shop, and the service advisor, and just like, dude, how low key.
I don't know how how does that make him look good in any realm? How does that make him look good? I just don't get it. That's why I keep saying it was just a malicious attempt to make somebody look bad.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, everyone watching right now aren't part of the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do we get that out to the other 990,000 techs in this industry that we have to stop doing this?
I mean, we have talked about this in other discussions, but I agree with you. We're not part of the problem. The people that are hanging out with us are not part of the problem.
To the choir, or we're preaching to the choir.
I have been guilty of things in the past. When I talk, I don't necessarily single anybody out, but when I'm talking to clients in the past, to sit, because as Matt was mentioning, I mean, they work really hard. Obviously, Matt's at lots of trade shows. He's very involved with training. Same with our shop. We work very hard to be the best example of what auto repair should be. So when especially for shops like ours, where we certainly have room for growth as far as customer base wise. So when you see these other stores that are killing it, car count wise, and they're not hitting the target, they're just not, and it can get frustrating. So when you're talking to clients, trying to set yourself apart, explaining what makes you different and how invested you are at being the best that you possibly can be, it can be easy to say things, maybe not singling out a certain shop, but just the industry in general. So I think conversations like this we could all benefit from, honestly, even if we're already doing our best to make sure we don't badmouth people. But the discussion about, are they paying for testing to come to a conclusion, or are they paying for diagnosis? during the process they're paying for, my opinion, during the process they're paying for testing, because at any point they may pull the plug before you come to a conclusion, and they are accountable for that testing. But my opinion is, once you've come to a conclusion, they've paid for the diagnosis. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think my ego is such that they're paying for a diagnosis.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And right or wrong, that's the way I approach it. And it's probably technically wrong. It's, from a business savvy standpoint, it's probably 100% wrong. It should be, you're paying me for the tests that I deem or the manufacturer deems appropriate. And when I do these, the results will lead me to, a conclusion or, a diagnostic opinion, a diagnosis.
That's absolutely the way I think it should be.
Yeah. In this case, my choice was off. There's no getting around that. I don't want that swept under the carpet. But yeah, again, it's kind of back, not to quote my own crap, but it's back to that Ric Flair thing. If you're tearing down your competition, look, I'm better than them and they suck. Yay. You're better than somebody that sucks. Or if you kind of build them up a little bit and now you've demonstrated you're maybe just a little bit better, you're above, good or excellent or awesome, whatever, adjectives you want to spit out. It just seems to make more sense that you would want to be, up here rather than just better than the bottom, that because you've spent so much energy tearing down the other tech shop, other shops, plural.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're better than crap. Hooray for you. How about you're better than cream of the crop, or just excellent technicians, excellent shops? That seems to make much more sense to me. And I don't even, again, part of me not liking discussing this the way we're discussing it is with my involvement makes it sound like I'm
on the defense,
whining, or I'm trying to save face.
No, I mean, I think you've, I think that you're coming on, a live stream and you're talking about this decision you made that was wrong. I don't think, which I think it's a challenging thing to do amongst your peers. Look how bad I screwed up here. So I don't think it's a situation where I think everybody should agree. I don't know, maybe not should agree, but it seems like cut and dry. It was handled really unprofessionally. But yeah,
that's the mentality. I hate to keep beating that drum, but when I had my shop, one of the toughest things was retraining these techs, where if something went wrong, their first thought was, who do I blame? How can I? And I used to have to say to guys, don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. And they'd look at me like I was, an idiot. And I would go, if you walk up to me and say, I broke this valve cover or whatever, I missed this, but we can get the part and get it done. Great, let's get it. I want the customer happy. Get it done. Don't come up to me and go, some idiot screwed this up, and because of him I broke the valve cover. It's like, that doesn't help us. I don't care who we're blaming here. Just and that's. I just feel like sometimes that's this guy just screaming on the internet. Look another dummy that doesn't know how to fix a Mini, and I don't think that helps anything.
Well, to your point, like as a manager, if you consistently see somebody just blaming everything else around them, then you are convinced, they are convincing you that they are incapable of learning. And that's the way I see it. We have to learn from these things. And if you're constantly putting it off on somebody else, then you're telling me you're not learning. I need to find somebody else that can learn. I don't know. What I look at, all of these situations where things don't go as they expect, we have to find a way to make it next time they do go as they should.
I just don't see a benefit on it from their standpoint. That it's only got to be an ego or a clout or an insecurity of theirs to go, I got Matt on this one, because no matter which way you look at it, there was no learning for them from it. I'm mobile, so I drive around other shops and see their screw ups, and we have our own. Like I just talked about it earlier, we screwed up a Land Rover we're still trying to fix, and it happens. But it doesn't benefit me to tell you which shop, exactly which Firestone did this. No, I'm kidding. It's just
Don't get me in another meeting.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm in all different shops all day, and all my guys are. So we're touching 15, 18 cars a day that are at other shops, and rarely do they call us to start with. So everyone we look at is one that they've already had hands on. It doesn't benefit me any to talk about that. What it does benefit is to get to see where the rabbit hole went for them. If I can kind of get their thought process, especially if it's a shop that I've deemed like, man, this is a pretty good shop. Like this is going to be a good one if they're calling us for this. And I get a couple of those, and those are really good learning experiences because they've already made the easy mistakes. Now I have to make the hard one. But there was no benefit to that. It would have totally made sense for them to call you and be like, hey, this is, man, you're wrong. This is, even if they didn't say, I disagree, and go, if they were just like, Matt, you're wrong.
Even if they called and went, Matt, you freaking idiot.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yes.
you'd be okay with that. You'd be perfectly okay with.
Because after they told me, and
that.
again, that hindsight, I would
and
have agreed with
then
them.
you would have the chance to go, okay, how do we make this right?
Yes.
That should have been the only concern for that customer.
Yeah, and they still could have clouded it in front of your face.
Exactly.
They still could have called you and they're like, Matt, bro, you missed this. You're wrong. And they could still, but instead they were trying to be malicious. That's all that is. There's zero benefit to that.
What'd you do, Matt? You broke something?
Now it just leaves a bad taste in the customer's mind.
Yeah, for sure.
I misdiagnosed a vehicle pretty epically.
Nice, me too.
And somebody posted it on Facebook.
Without calling them, and put their invoices with
Yeah.
their company's name and service writer and customer name, everything.
Imagine that happened to me because I was right. I feel you, man. That sucks.
And a part of that might be because people know Matt, they know his celebrity status on Facebook.
His celebrity status, his rock
that's
star.
hilarious.
When I was on the phone with him, I asked
His
him,
infamy.
I was like, do you have like a stalker, a bitter stalker or something?
Bryn did
gave the
ask
cold
that,
shoulder to?
Hey, Adrian does bring up a good point. The fact that he's the only one that will work on Rovers, he doesn't have this problem. So
Sold. That's what I'm doing.
Nice knowing you, Matt.
iScan 3 is all I need.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm good to go. A J-Box and some hack JLR IDS.
Yeah.
Well, that's all you need, really. Just hack that CD.
I think going back to your question though, like you asked, we talked about it briefly, but I think you should talk to the customer. I mean, you guys are in a small town,
Yeah, and I don't think
it's important anyways, but especially.
And I don't think the shop is local. I think it's, a ways away. And I'm not positive that the person that put up the photos is actually the tech working on the vehicle. I suspect it's a friend of the tech, and it was probably like, hey man, check this out. It's a suspicion. It's not even all that important. It's just a suspicion. And
I think sympathizing, like just taking yourself, putting them in their position. They were at your shop. They were told they need this $2,000 part. They decided, that's a lot of money. I need a second opinion. Then they were told that you were a hack, basically. Potentially, you never know. And, they went, like you say, potentially out of town, a distance, maybe totally inconvenient to go to the first shop. But the second shop, that's pretty inconvenient. That's what I try to tell our team too. Like, it's hard to be without your car, make an appointment, drop it off, and all that stuff. So I think it's important for us to really put ourselves in our clients' shoes sometimes, but just being genuine, like you are. Like, listen, clearly I made a mistake, and I just want to atone to it. I want you to know that it wasn't malicious. I wasn't trying to take an opportunity to, separate you from your hard-earned money. It was a bad call, and hindsight, like you say, is 2020, and we would like to do what we can to assist. If I were in your position, I would return the testing fees.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I mean, you got to call the customer, and you don't have to tell them how but just, hey, it came to my attention that we may have made a misdiagnosis. How can we make this right for you? So.
Well, in their mind, then it makes you more human, I guess. And
probably quicker than later, because it'd be better if you were to approach them than approaching you. It would go way miles.
Yeah. I like Craig's. How about using it as an opportunity to help another shop or technician learn? I mean, that would be great, but I would have a hard time. Talking to the tech who posted that and not using some strong language to be nice. I mean, it would be tough for me to go, listen, here's how we should have handled that. I mean,
I thought I was going to put in a similar situation. We had a client actually come to us, and he told us that we damaged his car, and that three separate shops said that we were responsible for the damage on his car. And so I said, do you mind sharing who the shops are? And I physically called them, and I was expecting, I didn't know what to expect, but I was hoping it wasn't going to go ugly and sideways, but it ended up being, okay. But I still believe, even though they denied it, I still believe that they told the customer something they shouldn't have, because ultimately they weren't at our facility. They don't know what we are or are not responsible for, But in that case, we did.
So guys,
there's no way around it.
Can I interrupt? I got a message from Dave. I don't know if he wants me to share it, but I want to share it anyway. The numbers for Super Saturday are real low. That's why we're talking about it. It says it looks like they might need to cancel unless they get another 100 to 150 people in the next couple of days.
Oh,
guys, sign the fuck up. It just sucks.
Well,
that sucks.
Tell your friends.
Tell your wife, tell your kids. There's some real world-class training going down here. That we've been missing out on. It sucks.
And I'll be there.
I'll be there.
World-class training, and then I'm also going to be teaching my class there.
I will be teaching a class in the parking lot called "How to Badmouth Other Shops and Get Famous on Facebook."
Here's the example.
I've got case studies. That's my first example.
Wait a minute. He's not the first to do this, right? Like Justin Morgan did this, didn't he?
Yeah, but I didn't touch that car. He just came over and he's like, "I got this idea. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh, it'll be awesome." Yeah, it turns out people actually believed I worked on that car.
Yeah, well, you almost fried that DME on that BMW. I mean, how dare you? You're supposed to replace those bolts, you butthole.
You just grind them a little bit, and then they don't bottom out. But
exactly.
it was so great. Because people would come up to me at the AES Wave booth, and they'd be like, and Morgan's standing right next to me, and they're like, "Wow, you got beat by that." I didn't have the heart to tell him that I didn't.
Hopefully Morgan played along.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's
that
terrible.
Was
great. I agree, Bobby. Shops undercutting each other is one of the reasons we can't get rid of the stigma that we're all thieves. Yeah, and Corey had a great quote, and I'm not going to try to even repeat it, but it was, it just, you got to stop tearing each other down. And again, that message needs to get out of YouTube and out of Facebook into the rest of the techs out there, because we keep talking to the same group of guys, and they know better. I don't know how to get that word further out.
professional courtesy. I mean,
Yeah, we don't have it. That's a problem.
But the next car from their shop could end up in Matt's shop. Is he going to respond the exact same way they did?
He damn well better.
Eye for an eye.
Just kidding.
I guarantee you, every shop has had one that's beat them up.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, we've all made mistakes. It's just that we don't get called out on Facebook. I mean, it's just on social media.
Most of the mistakes you end up bolting the part on, and you find out fairly quickly you messed up, and then, however you handle that, usually you're eating it. If it does make it down to another shop, usually it's closer, and you have some sort of a relationship with them where they are calling you up saying, hey, I think you might have missed on this. What do you think? Swing by with the car, or they swing down and look at it with you, and you show them why you think whatever, or just over the phone, and stuff gets handled. And then if it's way out of town, even, you're calling them up. How would you like me to proceed?
What do you guys think? Are there exceptions to that? In your personal opinion, you have a car in your shop. It was at another shop. It was at another dealer. It was at another chain store. It was at another independent shop. Are there exceptions? It was at a shop that has a bad reputation. Are there exceptions to how you?
Yes.
The only way I would really bash another shop is they bolted the part on, charged them for it.
Well, when I mean exception, I mean you're going to take the time to make a phone call. Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't think we should bash anybody regardless. We just say, this is what I found. Just just tell the facts.
Well, yes. I don't know about bashing people online, but going to it, I've always tried. If there's a customer, I try not to bash another shop. Professional courtesy. Mike, you had it right. But there are times when I have to call a customer again and ask them, they need to do something about this. It's really a safety issue. If the customer paid for something and the car was left unsafe, but unsafe in an obvious way, not like, this was an overlooking thing, but if they charged for a part, didn't replace the part they charged for, or left the car unsafe to drive, like if their kids are in the car or something like that, I will bash somebody because that's not cool. It's not fair. And especially if they change it, like if they change the suspension part or something like that, or they change the ball joint, all they did was fucking clean it, like stuff like that. That's an exception to the rule for me.
I don't know. We just had a shop that charged a customer for installing a Nitrous Express kit, and the car had a Zex kit, and the shop painted the bottle and put Nitrous Express stickers on it, and painted the solenoids and put Nitrous Express stickers on them. And the customer found it and peeled the stickers off and then blasted them on Facebook. And it was hilarious.
Was it a brand new, advertised as a brand new kit?
No, the car already had a Zex nitrous kit, and they took it to the shop and paid them $1,800 for the installation of a Nitrous Express kit. And it's on their local Facebook page in Tulsa.
That deserved to be blasted.
Yeah, the customer blasted them. I was like, I don't know. I kind of agree with that. That was kind of.
That's intentional fraud.
Yeah, there's no excuse. There's no like, we had a rookie doing it. Like, we had a rookie spray paint and stuff, and then that was an intentional money grab.
That goes back to Matt's point of why would you attack him? He's not doing that type of work. He's doing honest repair.
Yeah.
If you're going to attack somebody, make it legit at least.
That's what makes it so painful. Is I know that we go to painstaking efforts to do the very best that we can, and when anything happens, assumptions made. A father of a son, the son spends $1,800 fixing his AC, and he calls me yelling at me that we took advantage of his son because the car's not worth $1,800. That's not my decision to make, but it's painful regardless of all of the details. The part that's the most painful is that we take painstaking efforts to make sure we're doing the right thing every single time, and to be told that we're not, is really sucks.
Sorry. Adrian wants to know why Dusty is bringing his car to you, Keith.
Nope.
Well, that
All right.
sucks.
We gonna do your case study, Bryn?
Oh, it's 10:30, isn't it?
I'm game.
I see Chris Roberts in there. I called Chris for help on that Honda earlier today.
Did he tell you to look for the big black ring?
I mean, okay, so I called him for some service info help, and then I called him back and said, "I feel stupid. You got to hear this." and then he made me feel better and said, "Well, at least it wasn't like a bright pink one."
He's got a point.
A bright pink ring.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to show me what this is, because the curiosity's getting a bit. I want to see a big black one.
Somebody capture that. Somebody, where's hands when you need them?
Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm gonna Google.
Go Google a big black one. Ryan, share your
Google
screen.
Safe Search is turned on.
Ryan, share your screen. Google a big black one.
Do not.
Images.
We'll lose so many privileges.
And our YouTube is canceled.
Wait, I got it.
I bet you do.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go. You can get the 3-pack: silver, gold, and black.
Yeah, well, the black one's the one that was on there.
You know what I love is they actually show it like right on the button itself. Or no, that's around it.
Wait a minute.
Are there any negative reviews saying that my car doesn't start and I paid lots of money for someone to figure it out?
If you type in bedazzled ring for ignition, the very first actual thing is a Reddit post. It says, "Do not install one of these on your ignition, because it will cause a connection issue between your vehicle and the chip and the key."
So it did not affect.
Click on the negative reviews. Scroll up. You should be able to.
Like the 1-star reviews?
It didn't affect the regular transponder key, but did the remote keyhead, you said?
Yeah,
Very-
because
very
the
wicked
transponder
he
chip is much farther away.
There it is. Messed up my car's internal computer, and I was unable to use this item.
There's only one of them there.
That's
These are the good ones.
Well, yeah, yeah. It would help if they didn't make them out of lead. All right, that's enough steam.
Nobody's going to get on there and be like, "Yeah, I did this, and then I had to tow my car to the shop." And
Yeah, this cost me $500 to fix.
yeah, it's like a $300 uh-oh.
Yeah.
Think about it. I mean,
shop that these go to.
so you buy these things, right? You go buy them, and you put them on the car. The car immediately doesn't start. Don't you take it the fuck off and see if the car starts?
You know,
Sometimes, and sometimes it's a few days later.
Oh man, I just
That sounds like experience talking.
Mike, do you have one of these rings on your Harley?
No.
Sometimes it doesn't connect. Craig, speaking of Atlanta, was telling me a case study that they had. It was the Chevy truck. I don't remember exactly what year, but it was transmission shifting issue, gear ratio error code is the only code they had. And after the shop put at least a couple transmissions in it, and they were eventually called out. And it turns out it was after aftermarket wheel hubs were put on. This started, and the customer, in hindsight, the customer was told that this is what was causing it. And they're like, I did just put those on, but it didn't connect with the customer to say anything about it because they didn't see how they were related. But,
like one aftermarket bearing.
They put 2 hubs on the front wheels, or something like that.
Huh.
But in this particular case, they're using wheel speed for an output shaft speed. They don't have an output shaft speed in the transmission, so they use wheel speed sensors. So the aftermarket hubs affected that.
I had a shop that installed like 3 or 4 aftermarket wheel bearings. It was getting a brake lockup at low speeds. Anything under like 8 mile an hour, the left front wheel would just lock up. And they just would not believe me that it was the wheel hub assembly after like the 4th one. It was like a Silverado, like an 09.
Mm-hmm.
We went around and around till I finally said, like, here's the deal. I'll put one on, an OE one on, and if it fixes it, you're paying me like list price and labor at our normal labor rate, which is like $250 an hour. So they did it themselves and it fixed it, and then they ended up paying me for 2 other Diags. So
they've been trying to do a good thing for the.
Yeah, I hope y'all can go, and I can attest to that. Like, you just feel super comfortable. Like they just make you feel like part of the family. You know,
and the thing is, yeah, they're not even getting paid for this, which is what's crazy. They're trying to do a good thing for the industry here.
How's that Volt Claw doing?
I have no idea. I'm going to scroll down to CTI WTI and click on my ugly face and oh, I already voted. I put the link up in chat. So,
you voted for yourself?
That's what my screen looks like under the Volt Claw. Will that thing to victory.
So if I come in second to the Volt Claw, I'm okay.
No, you're going to be posting shit about Riverside.
Yeah, I know it's going to
be. So anyway, I put the link up in chat, so everybody could go vote for CarQuest. I would appreciate it.
Vote for Pedro.
So are we doing a case study, Bryn, or what?
Yeah, it's 10:30. Let's do it next week.
But now you're allowed to get loud, right?
I can get about this loud now.
Hey, can anybody show that police incident that we had there at the last Super Saturday, or was that Super Sunday?
Oh, who's got that picture? Yes, does anybody have that picture of the Super Sunday they can share that? Keith, do you have that on your phone?
I don't have it on my phone, unfortunately.
When we were downtown.
Are you doing a number 2, Keith?
No, sir.
Oh,
that's actually this hotel room, and the thing echoes.
Oh, it sounds like
and I'm in Atlanta, and they had the heat on when I got here.
I know that. So I know that echo.
I just want to mention that Super Saturday is not just about training, but it's about networking with other professional technicians.
Not us, someone else.
Yeah. He said professionals, so
real.
Well, you'll meet somebody there.
No doubt.
Paul Smith said if you have a VPN, you can vote as many times as you want for CarQuest.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know where he got that from. I'm just I'm just saying what Paul said.
That sounds like cheating.
It does sound like cheating.
You know what you can do with a VPN? You can get a bunch of tickets to Super Saturday and give them away to your friends.
There you go. And if you can't make it to Super Saturday, you can sign up for ASTE.
And then you can come hang out with us in the city and go and take the Keith DeFazio New York City tour.
Well, he's from Cary, North Carolina now, so we have to find a real New Yorker.
Well, we have lots of supermarkets. That's what we have down there. We can take you around all the supermarkets. Within a 10-minute drive, there is actually 16 supermarkets. Not for the one.
I'll say this.
So what is a supermarket, by the way?
Yes.
So it's, I don't know why they call it supermarkets, but I guess it's just a large grocery store.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious if there's like a...
We call them supermarkets down here, too.
Like a
differentiator.
Yeah, Publix.
Yeah, we have about 4 Publix near us, 3 Harris Teeters, like 4 Food Lions.
Got any Piggly Wigglies?
No Piggly Wigglies. They're all gone.
That's a little further south. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah.
How about Giant Eagle?
What?
That's what we got. It's a common grocery store up here.
Giant Eagle's the only grocery store you have?
No, it's a common grocery store up by me.
I thought he said John Eagle.
Yeah, you're like
Giant Eagle.
That reminds me of an oil brand, Wolf's Head. Right? You guys have heard of Wolf's Head.
I put that in cars back in the day. That's like recycled engine oil.
You can buy it at the dollar store
now. It's made
now.
in a bathtub in Brooklyn.
Man, I found every other picture but the one. I found everything but the lineup. I found the after the lineup. Where the hell is the lineup?
Show all the pictures.
Well, I want to.
Every one of them.
No, not yet.
So what's the cost for Super Saturday?
Yeah. Who's got the picture of the lineup?
Oz just
There's
gave
Chris.
us a question. He said, "Hey, Train by
Yeah,
Text,
I was just typing that. Go ahead.
if he sponsors
Perkins
a
is going to
lucky,
be there. Do you need any other reason?
Brian's trying to say something. What?
Oz just mentioned that if he sponsors a lucky technician to get his ticket to Super Saturday, would we be interested in getting another lucky tech ticket? I think we can do that.
Yeah. Oz, you do that, we'll do it. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. We got to
Good
figure
idea.
out how we're gonna pick that lucky tech, but we can do that.
We can do a Facebook thing, a drawing or something.
Are we allowed to do that now?
Are we allowed? Yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to call to the principal's office again?
Dude, that's ridiculous. Okay,
Well,
so it's $295 for registration. The reason why I bring that up is the class that I'm teaching at Super Saturday, people can come watch for $295. Or a couple weekends later, they can come to my shop and it's $1,500 for the same class.
It's a bargain at twice the price, people. Sign up now.
Here, can I full screen this thing?
All I'm saying is don't screw up Super Saturday or a lot of people are going to miss out on a $295 class they have to pay $1,500 for if they want to see it.
Here, let me share my screen. There. That's what happens when you go walking around in the city.
Is that
Why isn't Steckler up against the wall?
Oh, he was
Nobody
getting
puts
handcuffs.
Nobody put Steckler in the corner.
He was flirting with the cop.
He's walking the line.
Yeah, this is what happens when you hang out with us throughout the video. It's kind of cool.
Who's on the far right? Is that Bryn?
No.
Okay.
It does look like I have a watch tattoo there.
That's one of the
Brennan-
guys.
He's
That's
done
one
that
of the,
before.
That's one of the
Brennan
guys.
and I were getting
Brian.
Bren and I were getting good pizza.
Yeah.
I was going to say, whoever's at the far right looks entirely too comfortable like that.
Yeah, that was
That's
Ryan.
not his first time.
Is that bald guy PJ in the blue shirt?
This guy here?
Yeah.
No, that's on one of the UK guys.
Oh, okay.
So
I saw the baldness. That's all.
That's a low blow.
Thank you, Richard Kindred.
Hey.
It was awesome. We were walking down through the city, and all of a sudden a parade happened in the middle of nowhere because New York, and the cops were all lined up over here. We just had them take the cops actually the one that took this picture.
Yeah, they were super cool.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And the next picture, somebody was grabbing my ass. But yeah, let me stop the share. But yeah, that was cool. Fun times, guys. Again, Mike, you were talking about the networking. Networking, yes, definitely 100% the networking.
Absolutely.
Here we go. No, here. Let me share that one. This is the one. No, Keith was grabbing somebody's ass. What the hell is it? Share screen. That one. Share. Right there.
Is that Corey grabbing your ass?
No, I'm actually over here.
Oh.
next to Oz and Brandon's over there. That's Keith.
Oh, okay.
Dude, are you with the red thing?
That's me right here. Yeah.
Dude, it looks like you're taking a leak.
Yeah, you ain't got no ass.
He actually was. We were hiding him.
You know what they say, when in Rome.
Giggity. It's a fun time. I got a picture of Corey riding a freaking sawhorse somewhere, which says "Don't ride" or whatever. And then there goes Corey.
The best thing about that picture, by the way, was the two random strangers that were standing by the cop car on the right.
Hold on, let me go back there. Hold on. Here we go.
They were just walking down the street, had no idea what was going on, and then kind of figured it out as it happened. Yeah, they're just kind of sitting back there like, well.
That is a pretty awesome
We got a guy
picture.
watching from Australia. Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Steven.
Trying to figure who is that right there? Oh, that is who's getting their ass grabbed? Keith?
Oh, the blue shirt is Chad
That's
Austin.
Ryan.
Oh, that was Ryan. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That was Ryan. And is that Mario?
And funny thing, he's
I
coming
see.
back.
Well, not if they can. Well, he's still coming in anyway, right? Are we still going to the city no matter what? Because we don't have a choice.
I guess I don't know. Let's see.
Come on, guys.
Who's hiding behind the bus stop? That's
Tommy.
Kuba.
Tommy.
Yeah, but somebody else is back there, bent over, with something between their legs.
Oh, is that Corey?
Got a Train by Tech shirt on.
That's Corey. The white shoes. That's Corey. There's Tommy. You can see him. He's right there.
Tommy is actually hiding behind a pole.
Camera tricks.
And here's Isaac. He knows where he's supposed to. Is that Isaac? No, that wasn't Isaac.
No, he wasn't with us.
No?
No, I don't think so.
No. You couldn't even leave a bathroom, though, without people clapping for you. That was good, too.
Good times. Good times, guys.
And Oz fell down the escalator. Yeah, good times, yeah.
Oz got married there, like a couple hours later, right? We got engaged.
This was engagement day.
Yeah. Wow. Good stuff happens, guys. Lots of life happens here.
Just good news there, but he's got a baby on the way.
I heard.
Yeah.
Big deal. He's also got a shop he's bought or buying. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Big things for Oz.
And he's buying somebody a Super Saturday ticket. So.
Yeah, we just found him in the comments section. Go figure.
Oh, well. Good times.
Yeah, there's some UK guys in there.
A lot of them in there.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
All right.
So we got to figure out how we're going to do a giveaway.
Are we allowed to do a giveaway?
Oh, yeah.
Let's just do it.
Totally going to do a giveaway.
Anyone can
What's the worst that can happen? Gee, somebody gets upset?
I see what you did there.
It's kind of like what Barry Manilow's song, Mandy.
and people say I'm heavy-handed.
I don't do subtle.
Oh, God. Okay. That's enough of that.
We'll figure out a way. If Super Saturday's happening, we'll figure out a way to give a ticket away. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's really, come on, guys.
Just somebody that lives in Philly. Just we're
going to end up giving one away from Colombia or something.
The guy from Australia will win it with our luck. I can pick you up in my Sprinter on the way up. And
it's something none of us thought of when we had to ship a Pico across the world.
Yeah.
Denmark.
Out of like 9 of us, none of us thought about that. That's crazy.
Well, it was like, well, that was our vision. Was that our vision? No, vision winner. But it was like we had to go to was it number 3?
They kept hanging up on us.
Yeah, like stop calling me.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna give away a ticket if they actually answer the phone.
We're gonna give away the entire thing. You have to pay nothing. All you have to do is get off of work.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Crank caller.
Just answer your phone. You're gonna get a call from a New York phone number. What's this? Oh, that was fun. Let's do that again.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So again, guys, it looks like they just need just 150 tickets. I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. And for world-class training, and I know everybody's been dying for live training. It's here, and it's local to the East Coast. You got people coming from, other countries to come to this training to have this stuff, and there's gonna be tons of people there. Just the networking alone is worth it. But the training itself, I mean, it's a great bunch of guys putting it on, and we're not getting anything for it, but it's just a great group of guys, a great training event, and I'd really like to see this thing go on. Can't say enough.
Well, and it's special this year. It's more than one day.
Well, exactly. Yeah, they finally.
Past years it was just a Saturday. Mm-hmm. Now it's 2 days.
Exactly, and yeah, because they were doing so good, and then COVID kind of screwed it all up, and we lost the momentum. But guys,
hey, on that message, by the way, bring your own face masks because they will be handing out doorman ones at the door.
Oh man,
those masks never work.
I can't say it. I'm not saying it.
I bought a pair of doorman underwear, and that wouldn't even keep the shit in. Anyway.
Oh my God. Oh, thanks, Keith.
Yeah.
All the goodwill we built up.
I'm
Every
sorry.
little bit of it.
Were they
Well, I'm
remanufactured?
It just got a spray paint job. And that's it.
Yeah.
Gee, Keith, why do you got to keep on doing this? You have to keep-
Yeah. I'm sorry, fellas.
Jesus.
Oh man. Have we gotten in trouble yet?
I'm pretty sure
I'm
sure
Chris
we have.
Martino was the one that said, "Hey, we can't do this till 11 tonight."
Rich
I'll take
started
that.
it.
I started it.
Yeah, with a heavy-handedness.
Good night.
You know it takes nothing to keep going.
Hey,
Hold the ripcord.
We got a very generous offer from Mike Reynolds to cover some expenses if somebody wins a ticket or if we give away a ticket. So if somebody needs help getting there, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
He sent me a message. I don't know if he wanted to do it privately, but sorry, Mike. Now everybody knows. He said he'll sponsor a pair of techs. He'll cover round trip flights. So.
Holy shit!
Whoa.
He
Why
didn't
not
mention
stage
it's his.
everybody?
He didn't mention it's his guys. We have to give the ticket away to.
I'll sponsor two guys. They're my own.
Okay, that was supposed to be private. Never mind, everybody. We'll just edit that part off the internet. We're fine. We're fine.
Edit that part off the
Moving on.
Should we keep on going until we get called?
Until we have no friends left.
Let's see, Rich. Let's see if you and I get that call live. Well, if we're
Oh
staying long
no!
enough.
I think we should just. We should tease them with Bryn's case study for next week.
Well, I can talk briefly about it. It's not anything exciting, but it does. It does go along pretty well with some of the conversations we've had. It was. It's what I liked initially about it is. It's just cool looking at a wiring diagram and understanding how the system works, and part of this case study does that. And it also, the scan tool bidirectional controls and understanding what it should do, believing it. Like, have you guys seen scan data or a bidirectional control and you didn't necessarily believe what the scan tool was telling you?
Yes.
Never.
Yeah.
I live that life.
So that's part of this situation. I saw the description say one thing, and I didn't know that I believed it, basically. So there's some pretty. It's not a very difficult diag at all, but it's also not standing on the pedestal looking at me, because there are certainly some inefficiencies and mistakes in it, which we will all learn from, hopefully, or at least I did. You guys may not have made the same mistakes, but. Yeah, I mean, we'll share it when we'll do the giveaway and share it at the same time. Share that case study same night.
So now we got to come up with an idea for a giveaway.
I think we just tell everybody to post their phone numbers, and we'll call, and the first one that actually answers the call.
Dude, that first vision giveaway we did, that was awesome. I love the way it handled. We took I think we did a really good job, and it was really awesome with that. I want to do that again.
I want to do a bunch of them.
Yes.
I'd love to give tickets to ASTE and Super Saturday and Vision and all that. So.
Me too. And
we'll get there. We'll get there.
As soon as we get our 501, and, we don't get yelled at and people get butthurt and then blame us for things. Then we could do that. It'd be great. Rich, I could see you just holding your tongue.
I'm
watching you right now.
I am hoping we get to the end of this and can say goodbye before I, lose a job. So.
Gee, Rich, I don't know. All right,
moving on. All right. Yeah,
Yes.
It's gonna get ugly. So hopefully we'll see everybody next week. Maybe we'll do some next week or the week after, but we'll come back and go from there. I'm not good at sign off. Somebody else do that.
All right, guys. We appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. we'll see you next time. And stick around, the next one, we'll probably be giving something away. So.
Or not, or yes, or no. and maybe Keith will be in a new house.
Hopefully.
Or a different domicile.
Or less levels of stress. That's all I'm hoping for.
Or maybe you'll have headphones at work.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Good night.
Thanks for joining us, Matt, and for sharing that with us. 'Cause
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
I know that wasn't easy, but
We were going to talk about it whether he was here or not.
In fact, we like it the other way around.
So next week we're gonna revisit Matt's case study and talk about what an idiot he is.
Without him, yeah.
It won't take
And
that
then we'll
long.
all
though.
share the
You could
the
do that
recording
tomorrow.
with him.
I still got
Are we still on?
I still got those screenshots. So.
Oh man.
Are we still on? Brian?
We're
'Cause
still on.
We're still on.
I want to see my ABC.
Thank you to everybody who watched and joined us and joined us.
A B
That's it.
C D E F.
Backward.